Ever feel like you're stuck on a treadmill? You wake up, you go to work, you get paid, you do it all over again. Well, what if I told you that real wealth isn't about working harder at all? It's about building something that works for you. So let's dive into this idea, how to make that shift from just being an earner to becoming an architect of your own future.
Quiet machines? What does that even mean? Well, that's the mystery we're going to unravel today. These are systems you design just once, but they keep paying you forever. They're working while you sleep, while you're on vacation, while you're just living your life. This isn't some get-rich-quick theory. It's a fundamental law of how wealth actually works, and we're going to break down exactly how you can build it.
But okay, before we can build anything, we have to see the trap that keeps almost everyone stuck. It's a system so normal, so common, we're basically trained from day one to think it's the only way to live, trading your limited time for money.
Let's make this real for a second. I want you to actually think about this. If you stopped getting a paycheck tomorrow, what happens? For most of us, the answer is everything falls apart. The rent, the bills, life itself. It doesn't just pause because you did. And that is the silent prison of earned income. Your lifestyle isn't really yours. It's borrowed because it completely depends on you showing up every single day.
And this right here, this lays it out perfectly. There are really only two paths you can be on. Path 1 is the default path. Your effort has a hard ceiling, right? I mean, there are only 24 hours in a day. You can't just make more time. But path 2, that's about design. And here's the beautiful part. Unlike your effort, your design has no ceiling. The machine you build can literally run forever. So the real question is, how do you get onto path 2?
So how do we make that jump? Well, it all starts with a huge shift in your identity. You have to stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like a designer. This is what we call the builder's mindset. This definition, this is the whole thing in a nutshell. It's the move from being the source to being the architect. Think about it. A source, like a well, can run dry. Every bucket of water you pull out drains it a little more. But an architect, they design the system, they create the blueprint, and the building stands long after they've left the site. This isn't just semantics. It's about separating your survival from your own physical labor.
And this is literally what that shift sounds like inside your own head. The worker is always asking about the now. How much can I make today? How many hours will this take? But the designer, the architect, they're asking completely different questions. They're not just thinking about today. They're designing for all the tomorrows. How long will this pay me? That single question changes the entire game.
All right, so you've got the mindset. But a mindset alone doesn't pay the bills, does it? So now let's talk about the engine that actually powers this whole thing. It's a concept that's so simple, but so powerful. Systems. A system gives you the one thing that pure effort never ever can, leverage. It's what turns 1 hour of your work into potentially thousands of hours of results. A YouTube video that gets views for years, a digital course that sells while you're sleeping, an investment that quietly grows on its own. These are all systems. They are basically little engines that turn your ideas into a workforce that never clocks out.
You know, the best way to picture this is the old parable. You can spend your whole life carrying buckets of water from the river to your village. It's hard, backbreaking work, and the second you stop, the village goes thirsty. Or you can spend some time up front building a pipeline. Yeah, it's a lot of work at first, but once it's done, the water flows forever. Most people are carrying buckets. The wealthy, they're building pipelines.
Okay, so pipelines. Got it. But what are these pipelines actually made of? We've talked about the why and the how. Now let's get into the what. This is the actual blueprint for the assets you can start building.
Pretty much every asset that can pay you forever fits into one of these three buckets. You can think of them like the three essential pillars that hold up the entire structure. You need all of them to build something that's truly unshakable. Now, this is super important because each of these asset types has a very specific job to do. Cash flow assets, like a rental property, are all about giving you freedom today. Appreciation assets, like index funds, are about growing your wealth for the future. And protection assets, like gold or just plain old cash, they're your shield. They protect everything you've built. You really do need all three working together.
So here's a rough idea of how it all fits together. You've got cash flow plus appreciation plus protection. That's the formula. It's not about picking just one. It's about building this balanced system where each piece supports the others. When you have that, you've built a foundation that can pretty much withstand anything life throws at it.
So at this point, you might be thinking, okay, this is great, but I don't have a pile of money to start with.
And look, that's the #1 thing that holds people back. But the foundation of all of this isn't a big chunk of cash. It's a quiet, invisible, natural force that literally anyone can use.
The thing to get about compounding is that it's not just some financial trick. It's really a philosophy. It's what happens when you combine time and discipline. It's the ultimate proof that wealth isn't built with intensity, but with quiet consistency. It's like the universe rewarding you for having the patience to trust a process you can't even see at first.
And this timeline, this is why so many people give up. They quit right here in the quiet beginning because the growth is totally invisible. It feels like you're doing nothing, like it's pointless. But if you just keep going, you hit the slow build, and then, eventually, you hit the acceleration. That's the moment the curve shoots up and the growth just starts feeding on itself. That is the magic.
Which brings us to this final thought. When you delay, you're not just losing time. You're losing all the compounding that time would have created for you. And this isn't just about building more money, it's about building a life that has freedom and choice and real possibility. The true cost of waiting isn't that you'll regret it later, it's that you put a permanent ceiling on your own potential. So the only question that's really left is, when are you going to begin?